A mid-spring shower sweeps across Western Australia's southern wheat belt. A well-timed drop of moisture to fill out the grain late in the season. "2020 has been an anxious and unpredictable year for growers in the West. After riding a rainfall roller coaster through winter, a warm spring is indicating an early finish to the season. In sheds across the state, headers, tractors and trucks are being prepped to bring in the state's predicted 14.5 million tonne crop. On Rhys Kerwin's family farm, that means readying 7 headers and chasers and 4 road trains. But while he's preparing the gear, finding the people to run the machines is proving a headache. Harvest requires 25 staff for their 6-week program, many of whom traditionally come from Europe, New Zealand and the eastern states.
We've discounted the amount of people from the eastern states that come over to help during this peak time in our industry, and that's almost disappeared, those imports, because it's just incredibly hard to get into this state at the moment. Even if you have good reasons, or you have approval from someone such as us.
The Kerwin family is competing with farming, transport, mining and construction enterprises across WA, who are all scrambling to secure skilled mobile plant workers.
Personally, we're still missing 2 truck drivers to drive the grain from here to the port for export. So we're not quite sure where we're going to find them at the moment, and we're competing with the whole trucking industry for drivers that are just hard to find at the moment.
Right now, there's a range of short and long-term jobs.
Recently, the state government launched a glossy TV campaign to attract young, out-of-work Perth kids to take up hundreds of farm jobs on offer.
Authorised by the state government, Perth.
In the wheat belt, it's been greeted with scepticism and for failing to address the skills crisis.
Well done, guys. That's good. Just take it to the end. And Gavin, you can come around the tyres and then come back in together.
Roger, copy that.
On her farm east of Perth, Lee Webster runs agricultural training courses mostly for backpackers and connects them with farmers looking for staff.
We started back in March. We knew that there was going to be an issue as soon as the borders closed. And it's an issue with experience, the level of experience. It's not the lack of people, it's the level of experience. We did labour market testing really early on. We did economic costs, and we also surveyed the West Australian grain industry and came up with a shortage of 1,000 or more operators.
Her courses have drawn some high-flying students to fill the gap. These men are passenger jet pilots, stood down indefinitely by their airlines, adapting to a slower pace in a whole new cockpit.
Oh, it was interesting. We're learning still on this, but picking it up pretty quickly, and it's going to be very interesting, this. A little bit different to what we used to do, but it's interesting, it's fun.
But recruiting beginners has only solved part of the problem. Training, Lee Webster says, is a band-aid solution that doesn't solve the immediate need to allow experienced operators into the state, and quickly.
To actually lock down agricultural movement is, it's just criminal. I think it's criminal. Like you're putting a lot of lives at risk and a lot of livelihoods. And I think, there could be more movement. Truck drivers and header drivers, these are highly skilled. You can't buy a licence, you can't buy experience.
At a truck yard in the state south, a pre-journey tyre check
So they should all sound the same.
on Kim Skinner's road train at Mount Barker. The company he drives for is gearing up for the harvest season. But in the months ahead, trucks like his could be parked up instead of hauling grain to port because of a looming shortage of drivers.
If we don't have the bums on seats, it sounds like the farmers are just going to have to wait for us. There's definitely a shortage of skilled drivers in the transport industry. Average age is very high. With the lack of people travelling with the closed borders and the COVID process, it's going to be very difficult to fill all positions to handle the demand in this coming grain harvest.
If you're a retired heavy haulage operator and still licensed, there's plenty of empty seats in rigs like these waiting to be filled. Industry operators estimate that during harvest there could be up to 500 jobs available for drivers. David Fife has seen the problem coming. Fewer young people are interested in driving in the country for a living. Industry is appealing to retirees to consider getting back behind the wheel.
Maybe our grain nomads from Western Australia might be keen to come back into our industry for that short term, because people will accommodate. People will say, well, gee, if you don't want to do the long days, let's do some short days, or let's job share, and we'll get through the task.
With more than 36 metres of loaded road train weighing in at 120 tonnes, costing upwards of $750,000, it's a job requiring a qualified and experienced hand.
If you looked at the grain season, there could be 250 to 500 people needed. But short term, I'm hearing the mining industry and the long haul guys to the north, there's always something looking for drivers.
But WA Agriculture Minister Alana McTiernan says the government has done everything possible to ease the crisis.
We know that it is still going to be very, very tight and tough, and there will be, that opportunity to apply for those exemptions for specialist agricultural workers. But we've really got to bring as many West Australians, get as many West Australians as possible involved in bringing in the harvest this year.
Once the spring showers have blown through and the crops start to turn, there'll be more anxious days ahead.
A lot of people, we're reaching our peak debts levels around now, so anxiety levels can certainly increase until the crop is in the shed or at the port, where you've got certainty on your return for the year. And it may look good, but it's not there until it's in the bin.